Welcome everybody. This is Cinema Express, and we are going to talk about Ye Kali Kali Ankhein. I'm very excited. I have this question for all of you to start. Why did you choose to play the roles that you did, like Vikrant, Shikha, and Purva? Like, what did you find special about these?
With all the dark drama, heavy stuff that I've been doing, I really wanted to explore love. And with Shikha's character, and Shikha is very different from all the characters that I've played before. And it took me a while to understand and accept that somebody's driving force in life can be love. क्योंकि मुझे लग रहा था कि अरे मतलब पर वो करती क्या है, पर वो है क्यों, और इनकी ड्रीम्स क्या हैं. And then slowly I understood and realized that love is such a strong emotion, and there are so many things that stem out of it. And love is a thing which is so colorful कि depending on the environment and the situation, there is no love which is right or wrong. Because a person who loves, they might think that this is the purest form or what they are doing is right. But you have to step out of it and you have to look at the bigger picture. Love should not be forced. Love should be felt. Love should be beautiful. Love should make you smile. And that is what I love about Vikrant and Shikha. And even while performing, there's a scene that you'll see that these two, they're just so madly in love and so simply in love. And when you're dreaming and you're thinking about life and career and days and weeks and months and years ahead, it's all together. And that does not mean that aap chipke hue wo ek dusre se. I think that is a little toxic. But these two, they give each other their space. They do what they want. They discuss and they respect each other's opinions and dreams. And I think that's what love is very important. Giving space, giving respect, and also understanding each other. And what life is a very individual journey. And I think the partner that you choose makes it easier or more difficult. So like I, as an audience member, I want to see Vikrant and Shikha together. And that is what really excited me about Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein, because I was hoping that the way Tahir and I, we portray the story and the characters, audience को ये लगना चाहिए यार कि इनके साथ ये मत करो कि पूरा please. So I hope that happens.
Right. Next, I'd like to talk to Anchal about her role.
About Purva, I love that how beautifully layered and complex character she is, and I love this similarity between Purva and Shikha, where both of them are madly in love with the same man, but how they pursue it and how they take it forward is different. So it's like two perspectives, from the same about the same thing. And I also loved how my character is seen through the eyes of Vikrant, because in the story we see the lives of everybody through Vikrant's point of view. It's his character. So I like the journey that my character has. Like as you've seen the teaser also, that Purva is in love with Vikrant since childhood, since she was in her 4th standard. And that journey of love, from where she starts to where she goes and reaches, it's crazy. It's like, full life shown in, like, all the emotions are shown in 5.5 hours, like our series, eight episodes. So I love the complexity and the real drama that it offers.
Oh, it's 5.5 hours.
I'm guessing the duration. I don't know the exact, but
it's just close to 6 hours. Yes.
You've seen it?
Yes, I have.
You've seen it?
Priyanka, then we need to be asking you questions.
You hide your emotions really well. You should try acting.
I think I'm in a job that I love, so great. So Tahir, I would like to twist this question a little bit. So this morning when I spoke to the writer and the director of the show, Anna and Siddharth said that they wanted to show what happens when a powerful man loves you but you don't, or a powerful woman loves you and you don't, and your character is stuck in this frustrated place. Where did you manifest this frustration from? Because after 3 episodes, I was frustrated with the situation. I was like, oh my God, what is happening, right? So, where did you manifest this frustration?
Wow, I think as actors, what you do is uh, tap into a moment or a feeling that you have had or have sometimes not had but seen, and then depending on the circumstance, you magnify it to suit what the situation is. But having said that, what was incredibly interesting about Vikrant was that this was an ordinary guy in an extraordinary circumstance, and all he wanted from life was for Vikrant and Shikha to be together and to move to a small town, to have his dream job and his dream house, and how all of those dreams just come tumbling down when a power structure interferes and his whole life goes in for a whirlwind. So what's important as an actor is to understand where that frustration is coming from, and to get to the root of that, you want to ask the question of what is most important to you. And when that thing that is most important to you, and I believe this not only as a character but even in life as a person, is that everyone has that tipping point. And once someone fiddles with that tipping point, that's when you start to go from frustration to anger and ultimately to action, which is what the exciting thing about playing Vikrant was.
Mm-hmm. So, what did it feel like to be pursued when you have no interest? Like, we have seen women being pursued in movies and shows when they're not interested, but what is your perspective on this unwanted attention that you have got in the show?
This is it's the first time I'm exploring romance as a genre. I've never done it before on screen, and it's incredible as an actor to have two actresses, beautiful and talented actresses to play off. That's super. As Vikrant, though, it sort of changes your life plans, and and because there's an added layer here. It's not just anybody who's pursuing you without you wanting them to. It's a powerful person's daughter. And for me, and although this is like sort of metaphorically speaking, but it was very interesting as a concept of what do you do when a power structure wants to control you. At the heart of it, like that is the sort of one line, like someone in power is controlling you against your own will. And it was just an interesting statement to make in subtext. It's not the obvious statement, but a certain section of the audience might have that as a takeaway. And that was great. To answer your question, what is it like? Uncomfortable, and especially when the thing that is your core importance and love and need is threatened as a result of it. But that's what makes acting interesting, is that you pick scripts that are so far removed from your life that you get a chance to be in the most dramatic of situations, which also makes it entertaining and interesting for the audience to watch.
Mm-hmm. That brings me to Shweta. Like, if Vikrant's, like throughout the show, I felt frustration from his character. Then with Shweta, it was kind of desperation. Shikha is so desperate that at one point she is even ready to, get married to someone really. Like, instead of just getting an invite as Vikrant plans, she wants to get married to whoever is available. So, what is that desperation like for the character, and where did it come from?
So the way I think all actors have different ways they approach characters and stories. For me, I like to think and feel what the character is feeling, because I thankfully have not gone through what, and hopefully will never go through what Shikha is going through. वो चाहिए ही नहीं मुझे. Which is why, like what Tahir, just said, that as an actor, this is so exciting that we get to play and experience emotions which we would not in our daily life. And that is what makes it so exciting, because even you get to know things about yourself. And there are situations, in fact, you've seen it. तो एक वो जो bus stop पे जो scene हो रहा है, वो करने के बाद, because you're so desperate, you're frustrated because you love this man. You've seen your life with him. You've had, you've dreamt about everything, discussed every detail from the puppy that you're going to have to, when you're going to have kids, or what color the walls will be. And वही the foundation ही आपकी हिल चुकी है. So then what do? And is it his fault? It's not his fault, which is makes it more difficult. Because अगर इसकी विक्रांत की हो तो ये होता है ना कि अरे it's your fault or whatever it is, and then at least you move on. But you can't move on because he loves you, you love him, what is he supposed to do in that situation? Or if I was in that situation, what would I do? Because your family, your friends, your loved ones, everybody is being threatened. And सिर्फ शिखा की family नहीं, वो विक्रांत की family को भी हो रहा है. So I think वही है कि you're trying to hold on to it as Shikha as a character. But then when your family is going through and your parents are going through who are also super supportive, then I think it's unfair. Because then you feel कि you're being selfish, कि आप सिर्फ अपने इमोशंस के लिए और अपने आप को, अपने हार्ट को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए, अपने लव को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए यू आर डूइंग दैट. सो समवेयर यू फील कि यार ठीक है, if this is the way out, if this is what will help. Also, I think something that was very important for me as Shikha was that I wanted Shikha to move on, so maybe Vikrant can move on. Because if you are there and you're making your life difficult and you're making his life difficult. So it was very complicated and beautiful at the same time. That I still remember वो बस में भी जब मैं बैठी हुई थी. In fact, आज जो हमारा in the morning I had a photo shoot and they said be all, you know, dreamy and in love. And I thought about Vikrant and Shikha. And I think their love is so pure, and that makes me very happy because their love is very simple. It's very basic. And I think somewhere in the world that we are living in now with so much hate from be it social media or all the other places, I think we should let love grow. And because love is a very positive emotion, so we should use it like that. Live and let live, I think, is extremely important.
Anchal, coming to you, your character Pooja she's in an uncomfortable position where she's in love with a man who doesn't love her. It's about the scene in the car where you ask Vikrant, like, I asked you if you wanted to marry me and you said yes, and I asked you if there was someone in your life and you said no. So do you think that Purva is really unaware of the pressures that her father is putting in on Vikrant? Like, how did you play that uncomfortable role, like this negative role where there's so much uncomfortable attached to it?
See, how I like to work on my character is that I try to first understand the similarities between my character and myself, okay? And then I figure out what are the dissimilarities. So at an emotional level, I could relate to Purva a lot because she's a very passionate woman. She is, she's going after for, that is love, that is Vikrant. So that aspect about Purva, I completely relate to. It was only the her mentality, her morality, and how she deals with it is very different from how I am in real life. So I did work on that bit a lot. But so when the script is given to you, you know the graph of your character. You try to justify the actions, that why would this person do this, or what were the consequences that led to this sort of thought process. So I thankfully I had great guidance from Devendra Bhattacharya and Siddharth Singh Gupta. So they were all the time, they helped me understand that why she has become what she has become. Okay. And when I understood that aspect, and those are the things that you don't see in the storyline. You don't see it in the script. You don't see it when you see the whole series, which you have. But you have worked on it mentally and you're convinced about it. So yes, though it was a very uncomfortable situation for Purva at that time, whereby she is asking Vikrant कि तुम्हारी कोई जिंदगी में है तो नहीं, उसको वो एक तरह से एक धमकी भी है, because it's like अगर तुम्हारी जिंदगी में कोई हुआ, then I will deal with it, So it's like, I'm not leaving any option for Vikrant in that moment, So as Purva, how I always envisioned everything that she does it is that for everything is fair in love and war, तो अब वो प्यार के नाम पे अगर वो ये कर रही है, it is justifiable, and though it can be uncomfortable if you see it from the outside, but when you're in the moment in that situation, for me, I was completely, I felt that it's justified at that point of time. And also about, Vikrant's character, about the storyline, how I felt was that the consequences that happened thereafter, she is unaware of that. So whatever is happening in Vikrant's life or their life, I am Purva has no idea. So basically, एक वो बहुत ही innocence और बहुत ही एक childlike quality भी है ये, that मुझे तो बस प्यार चाहिए अपना, मुझे और कुछ भी नहीं दिखता है. So I tried to tap into that aspect of Purva.
Tahir, I have this question now from what Anchal has said. She has this childlike want, like even in the first scene, as children when they meet, she says, "Will you be friends with me?" And your character just says no. So it is kind of heartbreaking, like to see that she was approached and she approached you and you said no. So, what do you think about that? Like, do you see the duality in Purva's character? Can you understand that, or how did you interact with Purva's character in your head when you were preparing for the role?
I think that's a great question, but there will have to be two perspectives to that answer. Because as Vikrant, do I see a duality in Purva's character? Absolutely not, because I think consent is important, and that's a two-way street, whether you're talking about a guy and a girl. And even though the reason for why he refuses as a kid is not, I mean, to an extent, when people watch the show, they will understand why. And it is a childish reason. Like as children, we often make choices without logical explanations. But there is definitely a tangible reason as an adult when he grows up of why that refusal is said. So as Vikrant, I don't see a duality in that. But as Tahir, when I look at it objectively from the outside, I do see a certain duality in the fact that it sort of turned the tables on passionate love. We so often in cinema, the world over, see a man passionately in love with a woman and going to the end of the world in order to do whatever he can to get it. But here it is the woman. So some people, a certain section of the audience, might see that as overly romantic. The thing that gives it a very dark tinge here is the fact that here it's not only Purva's character that Vikrant and the audience is responding to. It's the power structure that backs her up and the consequences of that refusal that make it complicated for Vikrant's life. And that is where that duality does get a shade of gray, where it just borders from, even though objectively, while I might see it as innocent, childlike, passionate love, it is backed up by like a power structure.
Okay. So my next question is to Shweta and Tahir both, and this is about the scene where you actually run over somebody. An interesting thing that Siddharth had said about the scene was that all of you sit there in the car as if normal people would when they are, doing, like if they were to run over somebody. I hope not, but the reaction is very simple. It's very real. So the expression on Shikha's face, like she's shocked that the man that she loved is capable of something like that. But what does Tahir think? Like, is it desperation because he does not have anything else to do? Like, what is that?
Are you asking me if I'd run over someone in life for love? Or
no, yeah. I'm asking like.
We hope the answer is no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just wasn't expecting the question. So yeah, but no, you're asking me as Vikrant, what did I think in that moment?
Yes. What did you think of Shikha? Like, did your mind, like, did Shikha cross your mind at all when you were doing it? Did you think, okay, I killed someone. What is, Shikha going to do about this? Like, how is it going to influence your life? Did that thought cross your mind, like after, like maybe momentarily?
It's a great question, because it's quite a tipping point scene for Vikrant, where he goes over to the other side. And as we were talking about, what is that one thing, your core need, that flips you from being an ordinary guy to becoming someone who starts to take action? At that point, it's a very animalistic instinct. It's kill or be killed. If I wouldn't have done it, Shikha would have been attacked. She is the person who I love. And that is the justification as I see as Vikrant. In that moment, was I thinking about what will Shikha think? No. What I was thinking of is, if I don't do this, Shikha will die. And that is the justification that you have. But I really loved the point that you made about it being a very natural reaction. And I can't speak on behalf of Shweta, but I do know for myself, that I think the more real you play it in a larger than life scenario, the more connected an audience is going to feel to it. If that would have been an over the top dramatic reaction, I think it would have just been too much, because what's happening is so larger than life and unusual that if you respond to it the way anyone watching would, the connection that an audience makes with the material is that much more.
Shweta, what's your perspective on it? Did Shikha give up on Tahir at that moment, or is she just shocked to think about anything?
First of all, Priyanka, I want to say thank you, because the questions that you're asking, it's so much fun, because it's taking us back to what we were thinking while we were shooting, and reliving those moments. And that, as an actor, it feels good, because you're questioning, you're thinking about that. Why did you do what you did, or why did you react?
And we haven't seen the series as recently as you have, so it's making us think.
Yeah. So, but like literally, you teleported me to that scene, and I remember I was sitting on road ke wahan pe, and just my body, everything was made so small. And abhi, while listening to Tahir and you, I realized that when the person is doing the act, I think there is so much going on that, and in that moment, I don't think you'll have the capacity or mind space to reason out, think about it. It's your instinct that takes over. If you are an audience to this entire situation, which Shikha is, I remember what I felt bad about, what I was heartbroken about, is that I know what Vikrant is doing. वो right or wrong तो वो तो picture से ही हटा दो. मतलब there is no right or wrong over here. You understand why he's doing it. You totally, matlab, what do you do? But at the same time, this person that you were in love with, he's changing. And I remember I felt bad and I was in shock, because to see him like that, because this was not him. And he's not doing this out of his own will. He's saving me. So it was so complex, because there was so many things going on. You've not eaten for days, you've been into hiding, and there are goons running behind you, and there's a car, and like literally you could be killed. But when that happens, somebody that you love the most does something which can shake you up, you don't understand. You don't understand what is happening, and which is why the result of that, when that outburst happens, it's not just one thing, it's so many things together. You also don't know ki, now is this the same Vikrant that you were in love with, or now is this a different Vikrant? And you start doubting yourself, you start doubting him, you start doubting the relationship. Overthinking jo kill kar deti hai har cheez ko, it is that. Which is why I think even she decides that ki ab bhai ye to pata nahi kaise hoga, it's better to move away, step away, and see where life goes from there.
Shweta was saying, because you've teleported us back to that scene, that moment of when we're sitting in the car, I just want to give a shout out to Anant, who plays my friend Golden, because so much of what you do as an actor depends on how you're reacting to who's with you. And it was, I remember I haven't seen the full series yet, but when I remember going behind the monitor and looking at that reaction, and he was so in character yet realistic that it really makes the scene. And since people will be watching this interview after the series airs, they'll know exactly what I mean.
I did like that reaction as well. In fact, he's the one who puts everything into perspective to Vikrant. Like he says, you're changing a person. That is the same, right? Anyway, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a good release. Happy New Year again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka.
I'm very happy.